Tuesday, December 11th. Every trip has its great moment with a story that is the story that gets told if you only have a few minutes. And Tuesday, December 11th was the date of our story. Tuesday, December 11th, we went to the Great Wall and more. A driver arranged by the Orchid staff picked us up early for a ride to the third entrance, the Mutianyu entrance to the Great Wall. It was a great ride, nice car. Partway there, I spotted another clump of high-rise apartments, new, for sale, just off the road. I asked the driver about the vacancy rate. He said to assume a 30% occupancy rate, a big problem for China right now in their real estate finance. They built ahead of need, which long-term is not a bad idea, but right now is causing them some bank headaches for the nation. But the need will catch up eventually. The Great Wall was a thrill to be on. It was started as a border wall around 700 BCE, and that is like 2026 plus 700 more years. That's how long ago that was. So let's say 3,000 years ago. It is continuously rebuilt. It was, at that time, continuously rebuilt and expanded, especially under the Ming Dynasty around 1368 to 1644 AD, CE or CE. Earlier origins, the frontier walls began appearing in the spring and autumn warring states period, with states such as Chu, Qi, Yan, Zhao, and Qin building their own fortifications from about the 7th century BCE to defend against rival states and northern tribes. Qin unification happened in China in about 221 BCE. Emperor Qin Shi Huang ordered many of these northern walls linked and extended around 214 BCE to form the first large Great Wall system against the steppe nomads. And steppe is S-T-E-P-P-E. Very cool to be walking in such historic steppes. Fortunately for me, there are now elevators. After I got into my happy place with some coconut water and Ron found his with a Burger King, we were back in the car, heading to Beijing. We had a wonderful opportunity to walk up and down that part of the Great Wall, at the fortifications, at the emptiness and the mountains that were visible on either side and forward and backward along the Great Wall, the opportunities for I wouldn't say gun placement, but weapon placement, wherever they could throw at the invaders, they would do through the holes that were left in the fortifications, just like the cannons in walls that you see in Europe. We had one stop that we thought we could fit in on the way to the home back at the Orchid Hotel, and that was the Summer Palace. We'd learned that old people get in free in these places in China, but we do need to show our passports. I showed mine. Ron's was gone. He rushed back to the car. The driver was waiting at the curb. On the off chance that it wasn't there, I went in and took 5 pictures of the lake with a walking trail, the palace in a distance, and a bridge, all very lovely. But Ron's passport was not there. We drove back with a lot of anxiety to the Orchid and told the staff what had happened. I had also called the American Embassy. The manager at the Orchid staff and 2 other women were amazingly calm and organized. The manager told us we'd likely get the passport returned that evening. I thought that was crazy. She made some calls to the police and others in Chinese government. I made some calls to the American Embassy. It was around 5 p.m. on Thursday. At 6 a.m. on Saturday, we were supposed to fly out of Beijing to Singapore. This was a tense situation. We talked to Ms. Wong and a number of others at the American Citizen Services Bureau at the U.S. Embassy, and we made a plan to meet them the next morning at the embassy. I did a decision tree. A, get new passports and leave next week. B, Chinese authorities say, yes, we found visa, or no, we need new visa. We returned to the hotel, and one of the hotel staff came with us to the local police station just around the corner. This was a big bonus sighting event for me, to be in a Chinese police station. And for the young staffer who accompanied us, who had also never been in a Chinese police station. We cooled our heels while the policeman in charge finally decided there was no option. He had to fill out about 3 lines of paperwork so we could bring it to the embassy the next morning. We returned to the hotel with paperwork in hand that Miss Wong at the embassy said we would need. We made a plan to be at the embassy by 9 a.m. the next morning, Friday morning. Then the hotel got a call. Someone had turned in Ron's passport at the local hotel up by the Great Wall. That was good news. The bad news, it had just started to snow for the first time in 2 years. No courier had come forward to ride his motorcycle 2 hours through a snowstorm to deliver the passport. The decision tree shifted. If we got the passport back and the police had followed procedure and submitted that paperwork to the immigration office in China, then the passport would be canceled. We would lose the passport and have to get another one. And that would take a lot of time, days. However, if the police had not submitted the paperwork and would agree not to submit it, we would have a functioning passport as if nothing had happened. A team at the embassy was rooting for that option. The hotel was rooting for that option, and we were rooting for that option. Turns out the police had not yet submitted the paperwork and saw the logic of not submitting it at all. And a courier was on the way to deliver the found passport from the Great Wall to the Orchid Hotel. In the meantime, assuming a new passport would be needed, Ron and I headed downtown to a passport photo store about to close. Made it. Got the photos, and with some time left, we rounded out the day, or rather the evening, with a fun visit to the Temple of Heaven. The citizens of Beijing had become positively giddy in the face of this early December snow. Children and grown-ups were competing to see how far they could slide on the icy ground. Women in antique kimonos were on display, walking the pathways around the Temple of Heaven. Boyfriends and big cameras in tow. It was quite a night for all of us, but we still needed to be at the embassy in the morning. We didn't know yet that the now false report about Ron's passport had not been given to immigration. What a day. And at the end of the evening, one of the very special orchid staffers gave me an aspen leaf, turned red in the fall, that she had collected visiting the Empress Dowager Cixi at the Forbidden City, who ruled through 1908 for almost 50 years. During the late Qing dynasty, she'd gathered the leaf with sentiment, finding it on the Cixi's tomb, and she gave it, preserved in plastic, for me to keep it, to remember her and the Orchid Hotel and our Beijing police experience, including her taking us to the police station. That's one of the wonderful things about travel, the great, totally unexpected, but very human stories.